In 2003, a mother and her young son vanished on a snowy mountain road after making 36 unanswered calls to 911. Everyone assumed they had taken a wrong turn, but no one expected the real villain to be a GPS glitch and a system that failed when it mattered most. 12 years later, buried beneath 6 feet of snow and silence, searchers found what technology had hidden for over a decade, proof that Dana never left her son's side. What follows is a haunting, real-life story of love, failure, and the quiet fight to be found, finally, with justice no longer frozen in time. December 21st, 2003. 6:12 p.m. The snow began falling hard over Mineral County, Colorado. At 8,900 feet elevation, the San Juan Mountains quickly swallowed the last of the daylight. A silver 2001 Ford Explorer, last seen traveling west on County Road 18, never reached its Christmas destination. Inside, 34-year-old single mother Dana Ullman and her 9-year-old son Eli. The vehicle's last recorded GPS ping came at 6:39 p.m., coordinates placing it near Dead Man's Curve, a dangerous bend just 12 miles past Snowcap Junction. Wind chill had dropped to 11 degrees. Visibility, under 30 feet. The SUV's odometer logged 174,281 miles, then silence. At 6:42 p.m., the first 911 call came through. The audio, later recovered from a corrupted data chip in the car's onboard recorder, was short, Dana's voice crackling with panic. "Dana. Phone. I think we're stuck. I can't see the road. My son's with me. Please. Hello? Hello?" Dispatch never received it. In fact, none of the 36 calls logged from Dana's dying phone ever reached a live responder. Signal analysis later showed her device attempted to switch towers at least 18 times, failing each. The Explorer had taken a wrong turn near an unmaintained fire road, County 18A, often buried in snowpack from November to March. Plow records confirmed that stretch hadn't been cleared since October 29, 2003. And then, nothing. The next morning, Dana's sister Claire reported them missing. She told deputies they'd been expected at her cabin in Lake City by 8 p.m. Claire, interview 2004. "Dana was never late. She texted me before leaving Gunnison, said the road looked bad. That was the last I ever heard." Deputy Alan Marquez was the first to respond. His patrol report noted fresh tire tracks veering off County Road 18, partially snowed in. But a sudden whiteout storm halted his search less than 2 miles in. He radioed the command post at 8:17 a.m. Deputy Marquez, radio. "Visibility 0 past Switchback Ridge. Need snowcat if we're pushing farther west." That was the first clue that Dana and Eli hadn't simply missed a turn. They'd vanished into one of the most isolated winter corridors in the state. By that afternoon, the official search was on. Helicopters were grounded due to the storm. Foot crews couldn't proceed past mile marker 142 without risking avalanche zones. Locals were told to check cabins, barns, and sheds, but no one found a trace. Sheriff Glenn, Press 2003. "We're not ruling anything out. This is rugged terrain. People go missing out here and stay missing." Microcliff 1. At 9:04 p.m., Dana's phone tried one final emergency call. It failed 0.3 seconds into the connection. Microcliff 2. The SUV's interior temperature, based on forensic modeling, dropped to 9 degrees by 2 a.m. Heat had cut out hours earlier due to a dead battery. Microcliff 3. A hunter's motion-triggered trail cam just 5 miles east of the last GPS ping recorded something that night, 2 flickering headlights vanishing into falling snow. Timestamp, 6:43 p.m. The scene was set. A mother and child, equipped with no winter gear, no emergency locator, and no means to reach help, had vanished just 3 days before Christmas. And nobody knew where to look. December 21st, 2003. 6:12 p.m. The snow began falling hard over Mineral County, Colorado. At 8,900 feet elevation, the San Juan Mountains quickly swallowed the last of the daylight. A silver 2001 Ford Explorer, last seen traveling west on County Road 18, never reached its Christmas destination. Inside, 34-year-old single mother Dana Ullman and her 9-year-old son, Eli. The vehicle's last recorded GPS ping came at 6:39 p.m., coordinates placing it near Dead Man's Curve, a dangerous bend just 12 miles past Snowcap Junction. Wind chill had dropped to 11 degrees. Visibility under 30 feet. The SUV's odometer logged 174,281 miles. Then silence. At 6:42 p.m., the first 911 call came through. The audio, later recovered from a corrupted data chip in the car's onboard recorder, was short, Dana's voice crackling with panic. "Dana." Phone. "I think we're stuck. I can't see the road. My son's with me. Please. Hello? Hello?" Dispatch never received it. In fact, none of the 36 calls logged from Dana's dying phone ever reached a live responder. Signal analysis later showed her device attempted to switch towers at least 18 times, failing each. The Explorer had taken a wrong turn near an unmaintained fire road, County 18A, often buried in snowpack from November to March. Plow records confirmed that stretch hadn't been cleared since October 29, 2003. And then, nothing. The next morning, Dana's sister Claire reported them missing. She told deputies they'd been expected at her cabin in Lake City by 8 p.m. Claire, interview, 2004. Dana was never late. She texted me before leaving Gunnison, said the road looked bad. That was the last I ever heard. Deputy Alan Marquez was the first to respond. His patrol report noted fresh tire tracks veering off County Road 18, partially snowed in. But a sudden whiteout storm halted his search less than 2 miles in. He radioed the command post at 8:17 a.m. Deputy Marquez. Radio. Visibility 0 past Switchback Ridge. Need snowcat if we're pushing farther west. That was the first clue that Dana and Eli hadn't simply missed a turn. They'd vanished into one of the most isolated winter corridors in the state. By that afternoon, the official search was on. Helicopters were grounded due to the storm. Foot crews couldn't proceed past mile marker 142 without risking avalanche zones. Locals were told to check cabins, barns, and sheds, but no one found a trace. Sheriff Glenn, Press, 2003. We're not ruling anything out. This is rugged terrain. People go missing out here and stay missing. Microcliff 1. At 9:04 p.m., Dana's phone tried one final emergency call. It failed 0.3 seconds into the connection. Microcliff 2. The SUV's interior temperature, based on forensic modeling, dropped to 9°F by 2 a.m. Heat had cut out hours earlier due to a dead battery. Microcliff 3. A hunter's motion-triggered trail cam just 5 miles east of the last GPS ping recorded something that night. 2 flickering headlights vanishing into falling snow. Timestamp, 6:43 p.m. The scene was set. A mother and child, equipped with no winter gear, no emergency locator, and no means to reach help, had vanished just 3 days before Christmas. And nobody knew where to look. The first 48 hours after a disappearance are critical. Law enforcement calls it the golden window, the fleeting period when survival is still plausible, and the environment hasn't yet buried or erased the evidence. But in the San Juan Mountains, 48 hours of snow can mean 6 vertical feet of silence. By sunrise on December 22nd, the storm still hadn't let up. Dana Ullman and her 9-year-old son, Eli, had now been missing for over 12 hours. The Mineral County Sheriff's Office initiated a formal search just after 7 a.m. The starting point was the last known GPS ping from Dana's phone, recorded at 6:39 p.m. the night before, placing her silver 2001 Ford Explorer somewhere near Dead Man's Curve, off County Road 18. The air temperature had dropped to 11 degrees overnight. When responders reached Snowcap Junction, wind gusts were clocked at 22 mph, reducing visibility to just 40 feet. Search Commander Ellis Warren established a rough perimeter extending across 12 square miles, focusing on unmapped fire roads and Forest Service routes typically closed off in winter. "No flights today," Ellis told his crew during the initial briefing. "Focus on fire roads, trailheads, forest lines. Watch for tire depressions, broken branches, melted pockets." Volunteers arrived within hours. Some were neighbors, some total strangers. One man brought his snowcat from over the pass. Thermal binoculars and handheld infrared scanners were passed out, though battery life in sub-zero temperatures was short. At 2:45 p.m., volunteer Mike Jarvis radioed in a potential find. a shallow depression in the snow near a tree cluster off the ridge. Coordinates 37.8956 degree on, 107.1210 degree W. The indentation was wide, soft-sided, roughly the shape of a car hood, but the drift had half filled it back in. Could have been a car, Mike said, or just snow slump off a stump. I marked it, flagged it, kept moving. No confirmation. No follow-up. Meanwhile, data analysts at the sheriff's office were reviewing cell tower logs from Dana's carrier. They discovered her phone had made 36 attempts to dial 911 between 6:42 p.m. and 3:38 a.m. None were successful. The device tried to hand off between three towers, Tower 9B, 9C, and 10A, but kept failing after milliseconds. Her final call, placed at 3:38:14 a.m., connected for just 0.3 seconds before cutting out. A corrupted audio fragment was eventually salvaged from the car's onboard recorder. Date: 12/21/2003. Time: 6:42 p.m. Call origin: cell 970-555-1892. Duration: 0011. Transcript: heavy wind. Dana: my brakes aren't my brakes. Eli: background: it's cold. Dana: if anyone can hear this. Signal drop. Status: unreceived. That was the last voice recording Dana Ullman ever made. In total, 36 calls were lost to the silence. By early evening, searchers had covered less than 30% of their primary grid. One trail cam located by a seasonal hunter, operating on a motion trigger, captured something eerie. At exactly 6:43 p.m. the night before, it recorded twin beams of light emerging through the storm, then vanishing again into total whiteout. The camera was positioned 5 miles east of Dana's last GPS signal. Deputy Marquez, who had spotted tire tracks near Switchback Ridge the day before, returned to the site, but found nothing. The snow had fully swallowed the prints overnight. They were here, he later wrote in his field log. Now it's like no one ever drove this way. At 9:03 p.m., a call came in about possible taillights visible from the creek bed near Millcut Road. Responders hiked out only to discover a long-abandoned ATV buried under a collapsed woodshed. A dead lead. Meanwhile, at a cabin 3 miles west, the owners reported their dog howled continuously for 18 minutes between 3 and 4 a.m. The direction? Toward County Road 18A, an unmaintained fire lane known locally as the Old Climb. By the end of day 2, over 3 feet of new snow had blanketed the region. Search efforts were suspended at sunset, pending clearer weather. Commander Ellis issued a grim report over dispatch. We're burning daylight for no gain. Pull back, prep for aerial grid if skies clear. The command center logged no new leads, and no human contact had been made. Dana and Eli had now been missing for 48 hours in sub-zero temperatures, with no food, no shelter, and no working phone. No one knew where they were, and the mountains had gone still. Comment, hope, if you'd keep searching even after everyone else gave up. The next morning, after the storm lifted, a Civil Air Patrol spotter flying low over the valley spotted something strange. A wide, near-perfect ring of disrupted snow, flattened from the inside, as if something large had once tried to push up from beneath it. With the storm finally passed and skies cleared over Mineral County, search teams returned to the field at first light on December 24, 2003. Helicopter access had resumed. From 900 feet above a remote valley, a Civil Air Patrol observer spotted something unnatural, a perfect ring of disturbed snow, approximately 16 feet in diameter, surrounded by untouched drifts. The location matched the elevation and general bearing of Dana Ullman's last known route. The crew logged it at 37.18931 degree Nyan, 107.1257 degree Dio, just under a mile from the flagged depression discovered 2 days earlier. From the ground, the anomaly was nearly invisible, but infrared scans taken from the chopper suggested a thermal void beneath the snow, possibly consistent with a vehicle-sized cavity. The area, reachable only on foot or by tracked vehicle, was added to the top of the new priority grid. Search efforts expanded to include 6 K-9 teams, 2 FLIR-equipped helicopters, and over 80 personnel, including volunteers from nearby counties. The operation now covered 18 square miles, and for the first time, searchers began treating the case as both a survival and recovery effort. Deputy Marquez, field log. This is the dead zone. Locals don't use it. Maps barely show it. If a car went in, it's still in. Hard fact. 1. Aerial FLIR sweeps at 12:44 p.m. revealed a faint thermal pocket, 6 to 7 feet beneath snow cover, about 80 yards downslope from the observed snow ring. Crews marked it with high-visibility dye and flagged for dig team evaluation. At the same time, a new clue came from an unexpected source. A local news report on KRDO 13 prompted a call from a seasonal cabin owner who'd returned to his property for the holidays. He reported a deep hum he heard the night of the 21st, describing it as engine idle, maybe stuck wheels. His cabin sat just 400 yards from the snow ring location, but due to the storm and wind, he hadn't gone outside to check. Caller, tip line recording. Didn't seem right. Shouldn't have been anyone out there. Figured it was snowmobiles. Another search group, combing the fire lane access east of the zone, found faint impressions in the snow, possibly boot prints, but melting and refreezing made them impossible to cast. Investigators photographed the marks and logged their alignment with the downhill flow, suggesting someone may have exited a vehicle and attempted to walk east. Hard fact. 2. The impressions measured roughly 7.5 inches, consistent with a child's snow boot. No adult tracks were observed in tandem, raising the possibility that the adult had stayed behind. The growing profile of the case now drew broader media attention. Denver outlets began reporting on the missing mother and son. By Christmas Eve, local radio was running hourly updates, and national outlets were preparing segments. Reporter, archival audio, KRDO 13. As the fourth day dawns with no sign of Dana Ullman or her 9-year-old son Eli, searchers say terrain is their biggest enemy. With snowpack up to 5 feet in some places, the clock may be running out. Microcliff 1. A K-9 unit twice alerted near the flagged dig site, but handlers couldn't confirm scent direction due to swirling wind currents. Microcliff 2. A hand-dug snow trench reached 6 feet with no result until the team hit something hard. They stopped immediately. It was not rock. Microcliff 3. Radio chatter from a second team half a mile north reported a glint of metallic reflection beneath a fir tree root ball, possibly chrome, possibly glass. The signal was marked, but unreachable by nightfall. The terrain was deceptive. Deep powder sat atop compacted ice, layered across unstable slopes. Trees broke trails, but also obscured visibility. The risk of missing something, of walking directly over it, remained constant. As searchers marked the fourth full day of active operations, hope was beginning to bend toward doubt. But the clues, however faint, kept coming. The snow was hiding something, and they were getting closer. By December 25, 2003, the disappearance of Dana Ullman and her son Eli had fully captured regional headlines. On a day when most families were unwrapping gifts or attending church, news vans lined up outside the Mineral County Command Center, their satellite dishes pointed skyward, broadcasting into living rooms across Colorado. Christmas without a trace, read the scrolling Chiron on KTVR5. Reporters crowded around Sheriff Glenn as he stepped to the mic for a late-morning update, the cold visible in his breath. Sheriff Glenn, press briefing. We are continuing active search operations. Multiple leads are being processed. Our teams are in the field. We are not giving up. But as public attention intensified, so did the noise. On December 25th alone, dispatch received 117 tips, many contradictory, and at least a dozen from unreliable sources. The most talked about came from a man named Terry Polk, who walked into a local diner in Del Norte claiming he'd picked up a woman and kid hitchhiking outside of Gunnison the night before the storm. Witness, diner audio, cell phone recording. They looked cold. I offered a ride. She said no, said she was waiting on her brother, said she was heading to Lake City. Investigators met with Polk. His story quickly unraveled. Surveillance footage from the night in question showed no such encounter, and timeline inconsistencies rendered his statement unverifiable. Polk eventually admitted he just wanted to help. Hard fact 1. Investigators spent 7.5 man-hours pursuing Polk's tip, which was officially marked as non-credible on December 26th at 3:17 p.m. Yet other sightings followed. A clerk in Montrose claimed Dana had come into a gas station the night of her disappearance, but credit card logs showed no purchases after her last fill-up in Gunnison, timestamped 5:56 p.m. on December 21st. A psychic emailed the department twice, insisting Dana was beneath something metallic. That vague statement, while chilling in hindsight, had no coordinates attached. All the while, searchers returned to the flagged anomaly site near the snow ring. On December 26th, a dig crew resumed excavation where they'd struck a hard surface beneath 6 feet of powder. By midday, they revealed a curved metallic edge, silver, coated with frost and earth. Investigators cleared just enough to confirm a match with the roof contour of a 2001 Ford Explorer. A vehicle was indeed buried beneath the snow. Deputy Marquez, on-scene radio. "We've got it. Passenger side roof rail visible. Repeat. Vehicle located. Stand by for confirmation." Hard fact 2. The recovered portion of vehicle roof bore a partial VIN, 1FMZU73E01Z, consistent with Dana Ullman's registration number, but confirmation did not bring resolution. There were no visible signs of escape or egress from the site, no broken windows, no exterior footprints. The entire SUV had seemingly gone untouched since it was buried. Microcliff 1. Rescue personnel noted the vehicle's rear hatch had been unlatched from the inside, but snowpack made it impossible to open without machinery. Microcliff 2. The cabin temperature reading, captured via a probe, registered 19 degrees, well below survivable limits, even with blankets. Microcliff 3. A child's mitten, navy blue, was found 5 feet from the vehicle under a crusted drift. It matched gloves Eli was seen wearing in a Christmas photo taken 2 days before they vanished. As media coverage spread, so did community speculation. Rumors ignited online forums. Some believed Dana had staged her disappearance. Others insisted foul play was involved. One theory, baseless but viral, claimed a snowplow had forced her off-road. It wasn't true. The road hadn't been plowed in months. But the idea stuck. The truth remained just beneath the surface, both literally and metaphorically. The vehicle was now visible, but its doors were still sealed, and the cold wasn't giving up its secrets easily. By early January 2004, the search for Dana Ullman and her son Eli had officially been suspended. The SUV had been located and partially unearthed, but when crews returned to fully extract it, the snow had reclaimed everything. It took another 2 weeks and a tracked excavator to reach it again. Inside the Explorer, no bodies, no blood, no phone, just silence. The vehicle's event data recorder confirmed the car had coasted to a stop from 19 Mimpier with no crash. Heat had stayed on for a few hours before the battery failed. The last known attempt to call 911 came at 3:38 a.m. on December 22nd, after which the phone went dark. Forensic report. No trauma. No evidence of forced exit. Rear hatch was unlatched from inside. A single child's mitten, navy blue, was found nearby under frozen drift. Snow depth was 5.8 feet. By spring 2004, the SUV was airlifted out and stored. It offered no new clues. Dana's phone was never found. With no trail and no remains, the case quietly slipped into cold case status. The family held a candlelight vigil every December. Dana's sister Claire never moved out of state. Claire, 2006. There's no closure. There's just waiting. Over the next 5 years, tips trickled in. None led anywhere. A few hikers claimed to find fabric scraps, a boot print, a jacket sleeve, but nothing conclusive. The case log reached 183 entries. The file was marked inactive. Hard fact. 1. Cadaver dogs alerted twice in 2009 near the ravine west of the SUV site. Excavation turned up nothing. Hard fact 2. A GPS mapping error in 2003 had mislabeled the seasonal fire road as active, likely causing Dana's detour. Microcliff. 5 years after their disappearance, the trail had gone completely cold. CTA Nura 2. Comment, never forgotten. If you believe every cold case deserves one more look. Cliffhanger ending. In October 2014, a snowplow clearing a blocked forest road collided with buried metal, exactly 1.2 miles from the SUV site. It had been nearly 11 years since Dana Ullman and her son Eli vanished. For most, The case had faded into the quiet archive of unsolved wilderness tragedies. But in October 2014, a maintenance crew clearing a long-forgotten stretch of Forest Service Road 143 encountered something unusual. While pushing through 5 feet of compacted snow and ice, a county snowplow struck buried metal. The driver halted operations immediately. The initial assumption was debris, an old trailer or oil drum. But when workers returned with shovels and thermal probes, they uncovered part of a wheel well and frame joint, heavily corroded. This wasn't discarded trash. It was a vehicle, upside down, completely entombed. Hard fact. 1. The location was 1.2 miles west of where Dana's SUV had been found, beyond the original search grid and inaccessible for over a decade due to snowfall and fire road closures. When investigators arrived, they saw clear signs that time had preserved something intact. What they didn't know yet was that the discovery would reignite a case long thought dormant. Sheriff Glenn, retired, returning on scene. We assumed we'd found everything back in '04. We were wrong. This changed everything. The buried vehicle wasn't Dana's Explorer. It was a second car, a white 1996 Subaru Outback, registered to a man named Keith Dorman, missing since 2001, unrelated to the Ullman case. Inside, remains were recovered and later identified via dental records. That revelation sparked a county-wide audit of other long-term disappearances in the region. The cold case unit was reopened. Dana's file came back to the top of the stack. Meanwhile, technology had caught up. New tools were available: side-scan sonar, LiDAR mapping, spectral surface analysis. The search zone, once snowbound and vague, could now be digitally reconstructed down to the inch. Hard fact, 2. In April 2015, LiDAR sweeps of the ravine near the old Explorer site revealed a small, unnatural depression, 3.6 feet wide, consistent with a collapsed snow cave or hand-dug shelter. Conspiracy theories also made a comeback. Online forums exploded with wild claims, everything from mountain cults to government cover-ups. None were supported by evidence, but the noise had one positive effect: attention. Claire, 2015 radio interview. If it takes people speculating to get attention back on my sister and nephew, fine. Just bring them home. Microclip 1. Reanalysis of the SUV interior found traces of synthetic paracord inside the rear hatch, suggesting someone may have attempted a rigged exit or anchor line. Microclip 2. A digital enhancement of the recovered 911 audio revealed background clicking, possibly Eli playing with a flashlight button, suggesting he was conscious hours into the night. Microclip 3. Recovered rescue drone footage from 2004, once considered inconclusive, was reprocessed with new filters. One frame, blurred but visible, appeared to show a dark figure in motion between 2 pine trunks, 500 yards west of the SUV site. What began as a snowplow accident had evolved into a full-blown second look at one of Colorado's most chilling wilderness vanishings, and the mountain wasn't done talking yet. In spring 2015, investigators returned to the Ullman case with modern tools. Using LiDAR drones, ground-penetrating radar, and Kongsberg EM2040 side-scan sonar, they remapped the steep terrain around Dana's SUV site. Their goal: find buried voids, man-made materials, or signs of shelter missed back in 2003. Hard fact. 1. One sonar pass flagged a triangular cavity under snow and soil, 6.2 feet deep, roughly 0.8 miles from the SUV. Its shape didn't match natural terrain. Overhead drone scans showed disturbed branches above, like someone had cleared space below. At the same time, cold case DNA analysis turned up something unexpected. A swab taken in 2004 from the SUV's rear headrest, never previously processed, was run through the federal CODIS system. Hard fact, 2. It came back to an unidentified male, 25-40 years old. Not Dana, not Eli. The sample was dried blood, no larger than a coin. Investigator Cruz notes, "It may have been a rescuer or someone who entered after. We don't know." The find raised chilling questions. Had someone found them and left? Or had someone else been there the entire time? Meanwhile, a team reached the buried cavity using heated probes. At just under 4 feet, they hit canvas, A small child's backpack was carefully removed. Inside, a cracked plastic weather radio, batteries corroded, dialed to 162.4 MHz. A folded drawing showed two stick figures holding hands. It was signed simply, E. Microcliff 1. A rusted glovebox key was found in the snow nearby. Microcliff 2. Fleece fibers, blue and child-sized, were tangled with pine needles. Microcliff 3. One thermal image showed a faint skeletal contour below the dig zone, possibly human, possibly animal. It was left undisturbed until forensic recovery could proceed. It was the first physical link to Eli outside the car, and maybe the start of real answers. 12 years after Dana Ullman and her son Eli vanished into a blizzard-bound road, the mountain gave its final answer. In May 2015, a LiDAR-marked anomaly just under a mile from the SUV site was carefully excavated. Beneath nearly 6 feet of ice, recovery teams unearthed what remained hidden for over a decade. The first find was a small fleece jacket fragment tangled in tree roots. Then, a canvas backpack, its zipper frozen shut. Inside, a cracked NOAA radio, battery corroded, set to 162.4 MHz, the emergency weather channel. A folded drawing, two stick figures under a crooked pine, signed simply, E. Then silence, until the digging reached 5.8 feet. A small body was found curled against the frost, limbs drawn in, boots missing. Beside it, a second, partially skeletal form. No signs of injury, no sign they'd been moved. Just the stillness of two people who had refused to leave each other. Hard fact. 1. Dental records confirmed the identities. Eli Ullman, age 9, and Dana Ullman, age 34. Both died of hypothermia during the night of December 24, 2003, likely just hours after the 36th failed 911 attempt. The two were positioned facing one another, protected only by Dana's body and a worn wool scarf that matched one found in the vehicle. Recovery officer, log. No sign of trauma, no evidence of animal activity. Just quiet, human closeness. The hollow wasn't a cave, but a shallow shelter Dana likely carved with bare hands. It had no roof, no insulation, only snow, branches, and instinct. A place to try and hold on. Hard fact. 2. Forensic temperature modeling confirmed internal body temps fell below survivable range before 4 a.m. There was no indication either survived sunrise. No further remains were found. No external DNA match ever surfaced for the trace found in the SUV. Investigators concluded it was most likely contamination from a responder or passerby during the initial recovery. The search was over. The story closed. Claire Ullman, Statement 2015. My sister didn't run. She didn't panic. She stayed. She kept her son warm until the end. That's who she was. The bodies were interred side by side in Lake City. No funeral, just a quiet ceremony at the tree line, 2 stones laid in silence. Microcliff 1, Dana's GPS device, later recalled, had misclassified the fire road as open. That error led her off the main route. Microcliff 2, her phone signal had jumped towers 18 times in 2 hours, each time dropping the call before it reached dispatch. Microcliff 3, her final message, buried on the SUV's onboard chip, lasted just 11 seconds. If anyone can hear this, we're here, we're here. They were, and now they're home. If you believe no one should vanish without being remembered, share this story, comment, subscribe, let their names live beyond the snow.